Coach, when you looked at film, what were the kind of things you wanted to tweak offensively?
When we watched the tape, we realized we didn't play all that great. The offensive line played pretty decent most of the time, but we had a lot of mistakes up there. Obviously, a couple of guys were waiting on Mark as soon as he got the ball. We messed up a few blocking assignments and pass protection 2 times. Could have cost us a game. One time Stephen got hit sort of from the blind side, and fortunately he held on to the ball. And so anyway, that didn't cost us, but we didn't complete much downfield. I think we had 4 passes past the line of scrimmage the other day. So we got a lot of work to do. And pass protection and throwing the ball and catching and this, that, and the other. So we got a long way to go if we're going to have a big year.
Coach, does it surprise you 2 weeks in a row to see an FCS team knock off a Division I team? Have you ever seen anything like this in college football?
Yeah, we know it can happen, and we know it does happen every now and then. Sean Elliott, our line coach, of course, was with Appalachian State, and that was, I guess, considered the biggest upset at that time in, some people said, in college football history, when App State went up and beat Michigan. So we know it can happen, and we'll be ready to play this week.
Coach, I'm sure you've seen rankings affect different teams differently, positive, negative. Do you have any concerns that the 13 ranking in the AP this week will give these guys a big head, or will it motivate them more?
Oh, I bet you half our guys don't even know where we're ranked. So that shouldn't have anything to do with the game. We got good senior leadership, and they've talked to the guys, and the team's got some lofty goals this year. So we're nowhere close to achieving anything yet.
Steve, do you expect defensive coordinators to start doubling up on Alshon at some point? And if that were to happen, how would you counter that?
Doubling up, putting 8 or 9 up around the line of scrimmage? Yeah, certainly. And Georgia did that certainly down near the goal line. How do we counter it? Well, hopefully we can throw the ball. I do believe Alshon Jeffrey is a big-time receiver, and we got to get the other guys more involved a little bit more. Torrey Gurley, Ace Sanders may play a little bit more. D.L. Moore is a good receiver. So we've got to just get better throwing the ball. We're not a real good passing team. So we'll try to work on everything this week, passing and running.
In your opinion, Steve, how much has not having Shaq Wilson in the defense affected their preparation and their game plan?
I don't know. You'll have to ask Coach Johnson, but certainly Josh Dickerson had an excellent game this past week. And we also went back and gave a couple of game balls to Travian Robertson. Coach Loring mentioned that he thought he had his best game as a Gamecock. And Garrett Chisholm also got a game ball. Showed up last year as a walk-on, and now he's starting left guard, and probably had his best game here also. So I mentioned that just because those linemen don't get much attention, but those 2 guys got a late game ball. After we watched the tapes, we realized they had very, very good, solid games.
Steve over here.
Yeah.
With Coach Elliott just coming from that conference, do you lean on him at all for personnel about Furman? Has he helped you all with that?
Yeah, this is his game. We assign each game to each one assistant coach. So this is his week to talk a little bit about Furman and so forth. But yeah, he's played against them, and obviously we have the tape of Appalachian State versus Furman last year. We've been watching it a little bit this morning.
Coach, for 2 consecutive weeks you've had less production in the second half. How can you count that with your team as much as the other team? How do you count for both?
Oh, just poor coaching. That's the only reason I'm saying what's happening. The game slowed down. Yeah, we haven't had as many yards, but obviously the objective is to win the game. And if you're able to get a good lead, that usually happens. All right, the next one.
Steve, you mentioned after the game that some people had told Marcus if he came to South Carolina, he would never run the ball. Do you think what he did, A, proves to elite running backs they can come here and reach all their goals, and B, to freshmen at any position that they can come here and play quickly if they're ready?
Well, certainly, historically, or the last several years, no running back, I don't know what's most ones carried, 15, 20 times, I'm not sure. But if you have a back that continues to make yards and you're not throwing very well, then he's going to get it a whole bunch with any coach. But certainly that was a line that some other schools used, I guess, in trying to recruit Marcus. But we basically told him that he'd have an opportunity to do that, and it came the second game of his career here. Now, will he have a game where he gets that many in the future? I don't know. You can't say. You don't know how each game progresses. But certainly, as long as he stays healthy, he needs to get the ball a lot.
Coach Johnson has bemoaned the lack of an edge pass rusher that he can count on every snap. Is he nitpicking in your opinion, or is that an area of concern for you as well?
Yeah, Devin Taylor, made some big plays last week, and we got to get him coming. And Cliff Matthews got pressure at the end of the game there, so we get those guys cranked up a little bit. I certainly think they're excellent rushers, and get a little bit more pressure on the passer. He's right. We haven't had quite the pressure we had last year with Eric Norwood, but those guys are good rushers. They'll be in there hopefully a lot.